Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you having a great weekend and God bless you. Alright, let's get into the news this Saturday morning. It's so painful to watch that woman tried to talk while she's trying to keep her teeth in her mouth. So where is that Nancy Pelosi today? Well, she's obviously too busy to be bothered. Illegal insider trading takes time, after all. Thank God, she's for the middle class. Now, here's the great news. Okay, here, look, we've dealt with the bad news, right? And this sucks, no question. But there is some good news. There's some great news, actually. You can be sure that the vast majority of the population opposes this. Yes, I know the woke warriors over at CNN and MSNBC, you're going to trot out all of this polling that shows the overwhelming support for forgiving every student loan debt on the planet. Debt should be cancelled. And those indebted should be liberated and free. Yeah, you're gonna get your daily diet of that crap, no question. But if we were ever to see these polls as being weaponized, it would be here. Make no mistake. A wide range of polling consistently shows that the vast majority, upwards of 60% of Americans, are very concerned that a student debt scam like this is only going to make inflation worse. And as you could have guessed by that number, that fear is bipartisan. A former Obama economist has explicitly warned that Biden's debt debacle was going to fuel the flames of inflation. And the political blowback goes way beyond concerns over inflation. What we've got to understand, and this is absolutely key. I think that what Biden just did here is he's exacerbating a growing political divide that promises to absolutely crush the Democratic Party. Alright, so more and more pundits are recognizing that a massive political realignment is happening right before our very eyes, centered on so-called higher education. Right. In other words, we're seeing a radical political divide opening up between college grads who are voting overwhelmingly Democrat and non-college grads who have just recently started voting overwhelmingly Republican. And it's a political divide. That's absolutely panicking. The Democrats, I'm going to tell you why. And this is, we have to remember, so interesting that for decades, non-college grads, those who never went to college or never graduated college, they tended to be working class Democrats. So for example, Iowa, which is one of the higher density of non-college grads, they voted for Mike Dukakis in 1988. They were one of the most reliably blue states the entire nation. Those days are gone. I was deep red today. They voted twice for President Trump by 10 points. And this is what Democrats are actually freaking out over. Non-college grads are overwhelmingly defecting over to the Republican Party. Check out this headline that came out just the day after Glenn Young crushed Terry McAuliffe in Virginia back in November of last year. And this headline comes ironically from the far leftist over at the Philadelphia Inquirer. So they know the data, they know the statistics, but look at what they're admitting. These women are white with no college degrees, and they are in the driver's seat of American politics. They are in the driver's seat of American politics. It's a report on the exit polling from the Virginia election that found that an astonishing 75% of white women without college degrees voted for the Republican Glenn Youngkin. And not just Youngkin, but Winsome Sears for lieutenant governor and the Republican attorney general, 75% of white women without college degrees. And this article recognizes that that kind of voting bloc is impossible to overcome, that is an unassailable voting bloc. And you know why? Take a guess at the percentage of our population that is non-college grad. It's over 60%. Only 37% of Americans above the age of 25 have a bachelor's degree. Most of them, by the way, paid for it themselves. Research shows that 45% of bachelor degree recipients graduated with no debt at all. You can be sure that what the commander in diapers did the other day is backfiring. Big time, and in many respects, it's only hastening a political realignment that was already in the making long before this latest Democratic scam. And we're still talking about the Trump Mar-a-Lago raid, because of the cheap propaganda tactics of the Democrat mainstream media is using these ridiculous propagandists, otherwise known as your analysts, are literally doing the exact same thing that they did during 2017 and 2018. The height of the Russiagate Russia collusion nonsense hoax, and so when you see a repeating pattern, most likely history is repeating itself. And of course what I mean by that is, well, they have a whole load of nothing, a massive nothing burger, just like they did back then, just like Van Jones once admitted even before the Mueller investigation concluded. But friends, I'm seeing the exact same signs of desperation, Democratic journalists desperately trying to drum up some sort of headline, craft a narrative out of nothing rather than reporting the reality of what's going on. Their dishonest, shady practices are re-emerging, of course, from the exact same faces, and it's all just a bunch of nonsense from sources within Donald Trump's orbit, anonymous sources. And when it comes to actual evidence of wrongdoing, well, so far we have big fat nothing. No, of course I could be wrong. Donald Trump could have violated the Espionage Act and was secretly smuggling nuclear codes, nuclear secrets to the Russians and his Kremlin boss Vladimir Putin. I'll be the first to admit it. If I'm wrong, chances are if I was a betting man, I'm probably right. And I'll show you guys exactly why I feel that way. We've got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. Alright, so you've heard it before, and this is from Maggie Haberman, the New York Times journalist behind Toiletgate. I mean, she provided the evidence. Remember those 2 pictures of those supposedly toilet bowls from Mar-a-Lago with flushed documents? Maggie Haberman once again hits us with her expert analysis. Oh, they definitely got the orange man. This time, New York Times reporter accuses Trump of making, quote, implicit threat of violence and backchannel message to egg Garland. New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman, who rose to media stardom during Donald Trump's presidency, accuses the former president of communicating an implicit threat of violence to Attorney General Merrick Garland. On Monday, Trump's attorneys filed a motion requesting the appointment of a special master to review the items FBI agents seized from Mar-a-Lago for privileged information. The 27-page court filing included the message that Donald Trump relayed to Merrick Garland via a top Justice Department official, Jay Brad, on August 11. We've covered this message before post-raid, but let's read it again. President Trump wants the Attorney General to know that he has been hearing the raid. If there was one word to describe their mood, it is, quote, angry. Heat is building up. The pressure is building up. Whatever I can do to take the heat down, to bring the pressure down, just let us know. Oh, there you go, folks, the smoking gun. What did Haberman say? Reacting to the court filing on CNN, Haberman alleged that the message communicated a, quote, implicit threat. It is notable that he referenced that conversation that an intermediary had with Garland. Haberman began that as a classic Donald Trump move where he starts trying to have a negotiation with a prosecutor. But there is also an implicit threat, it seems, in what he is saying, which is, well, people are angry and who knows what will happen, she charged previously. In an interview on CNN New Day last week, Haberman reported that Trump was trying to be, quote, friendly with the message, which at the time had not yet been confirmed to have existed. So Donald Trump has a very long history of trying to sort of both negotiate with prosecutors who are looking into him. This has been going on for decades, and also try to send some kind of a friendly word to people who are either writing about him or looking into him or whatever. Haberman explained, so we could go. Apparently, Donald Trump's message was supposed to be friendly in order to smooth talk people that are investigating him, but now it's an implicit threat. You're noticing a trend here, right? It's been about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, since Donald Trump's home was raided. There's been no new bombshell evidence found, evidence of a crime. And so Democrats are doing exactly what they did during the January 6th hearing. That, of course, was another nothing burger. They're trying to read in and twist and manipulate Donald Trump's words in order to drum up some sort of controversy and paint Donald Trump in a certain picture. They did the exact same thing with the January 6th nonsense. Donald Trump literally told people to be peaceful and to go home. Everyone listen to this. Trump said, "But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this." Okay, get that statement in that video was either ignored, misconstrued, or falsely edited to paint a picture that Donald Trump had never condemned the violence, or that Donald Trump was sending some sort of secret message to various right-wing groups. For instance, when he told the Proud Boys to stand back or stand down or something like that, the direct quote was stand back and stand by, and of course, the mainstream media immediately tried to craft this narrative that Donald Trump was telling them to stand by. He was ordering his fascist right-wing militia group to stand by and wait for orders, is basically the narrative that they were trying to peddle, complete bogus. But now Maggie Haberman is trying to do the exact same thing. Donald Trump literally said, "People are angry, things are gonna get a little bit crazy," because clearly the FBI was instigating something here. He then follows up by saying, Let me know if I can help in any way, and somehow he's the bad guy and he's the one sending a threat to the DOJ and the FBI. Now once again, the finger is pointed at the complete wrong direction. They constantly instigate with their endless persecution, their lies, their propaganda, their corruption, and then Donald Trump gets blamed for it. It's a never-ending repeating cycle, and speaking of never-ending repeating cycles, here we go again with another telltale sign of these Democrats have absolutely nothing more nonsense reporting about anonymous sources and people orbiting the President Trump's Mar-a-Lago stash of classified docs included among some of the most sensitive secrets we hold per report. Just listen to the way this is written. Former President Donald Trump had hundreds of classified and top-secret documents at his Florida home Mar-a-Lago in the year and a half since he left the White House. According to a recent Washington Post report, the information he held is among the most sensitive secrets we hold. The slow drip of information surrounding the story has led to confusion and perhaps growing apathy during the traditionally slowest news time of late August, when many news staffers take a vacation. The Washington report added that clarity in a report published Tuesday night in a story with bylines that included Josh Dawsey, Carol Loaning, Jacqueline Alimony, and Rosalind Halderman. The story outlines the back and forth between the National Archives and the Trump team over legal documents, in particular how Trump's lawyers were alerted to the fact that the FBI was provided documents retrieved in January as part of a criminal investigation, which suggests that the former president was made aware that holding such classified information ran afoul of the law that he signed himself in 2018. The report reveals that Trump's closest advisors had been concerned about the stash of documents taken from the White House. According to the article in Trump's Inner Circle, concern has been rising since June that the former president has created legal jeopardy for himself, according to multiple people in his orbit. According to multiple people in his orbit, Mar-a-Lago is a big problem. One of the people said how big of a problem. According to one of two people familiar with the search, the information was among the most sensitive secrets the nation holds. Some material recovered in the search is considered an extraordinarily sensitive to people familiar with the search said because it could reveal carefully guarded secrets about U.S. intelligence gathering methods. One of them said the information is among the most sensitive secrets we hold. And so you see the tactic that they're playing to people familiar with the search. Multiple people in his orbit, Trump's inner circle. None of these people willing to identify themselves, just anonymous sources, once again, providing information to the left-wing media. I just have a feeling that Donald Trump's true inner circle and people actually familiar with the facts and the matters aren't running to the Washington Post to leak insider information about Donald Trump's internal legal affairs. I just have this feeling that that's complete BS. And why, you ask? Well, because we've seen it a million times before, an anonymous source from the president's White House. And it turns out to be Cassidy Hutchinson or some other low-level staffer who's never actually in the room when anything of significance is really said. We're seeing the same signs over and over again. These anonymous sources, these bogus reports with absolutely no corroborating evidence, and the twisting of words and twisting of narrative. It seems as though their nuclear secrets report isn't exactly so believable or isn't exactly playing out. And so all of a sudden, they're shifting towards Donald Trump's implicit threat towards the FBI, DOJ, Merrick Garland. It's all a bunch of nonsense, folks, until I see some legitimate, actual, undeniable, verifiable proof of an actual serious crime. I'm not buying any of it. These mainstream media hacks have cried wolf one too many times. And I'm sure probably most of you guys feel the exact same way. If you appreciate these updates, please smash that like button. Put your comments down below and hit subscribe right now.